Hello and welcome back to another Kato N700A Model Railways. Well, realistically it's an unboxing video more than anything, not really a review video, which is what I've been previously calling them. If everyone has realised, welcome to this channel. This should be the first proper review video for this channel, I think. If this turns up on the main channel, that means plan has changed from what was initially intended for this year, but yeah, so welcome to this channel. So today we can already see from the title, so there's no use in making any saying what it isn't. But yeah, we're basically starting a whole new era for the layout and something different. So I may have just realised that the microphone may be slightly obscured now because it is at the back of the room compared to where it usually is, but there's now a big ass box in front of me. So anyhow, as you can see, it's definitely not Australian. It's veering away from my normal Australian stuff. There should be some images and stuff from earlier cuts of the actual box because I can't actually fit it in the shot very easily, as expected. So we have a Kato N700A starter N gauge starter set. So yeah, I've looked at starting N gauge just for random reasons at all. So yeah, it's and we're going to be. It's primarily planned to be well, it's not going to be Australian, is it? This is the first thing I've chosen to acquire. So anyhow, having a look around the box, we can see that A, it doesn't fit, and B, I can't read half the stuff on it. So it's the 4-car train set of the Shinkansen N700A. Again, uses their standard Unitrack system. So it's basically kind of like in previous days would have been a little bit like the Bachmann Easy Track, but those were a lot more neutral, basic type of track. So these ones are I have had a quick look at the model prior to the video because I had to be honest, it did arrive nearly 5 days prior to filming because I had other things to do I haven't been able to do. So product code is 10019 and Kato Precision Railroad models. Side of the box is standard sort of stuff again, yeah, so, and then onto the back we have basically like a sort of expansion sort of stuff into it. Again, you will have a proper thing on the screen. Talks about the train formation. So there are 16 carriages as part of the Shinkansen N700As. This obviously comes with 4. I have also acquired 4 extra carriages to make it into the 8-car set, and then I'll eventually need to acquire the last 8 carriages at some point once they become available, more or less. We can also see that there are expansions. So the V1 edition, V2, V3, and if I recall, was up to V13 in terms of track expansions, but the main ones are there anyway. So in fact, I'm intending to look into getting a V1 for just, yeah, because as I don't really know what I'm doing with N-Gauge at the moment, so playing around with like the starter kits and stuff is a great way to hopefully start the adventure. Exactly the same as basically how I started 00 or HO it is now anyways. So yeah, let's get into the box. Again, it doesn't fit the screen very well because what would you expect? It's this table is usually set up for HO stuff and just locomotives primarily. So if we continue on with any more train sets, because I do intend to get possibly a few more others, especially for N-Gauge, maybe some HO stuff, 00 stuff at some point in the future again, which will all be on this channel. So be sure to stay tuned because as would have been said on the main the starting, like the introduction video to this channel, this channel will be put primarily for international model trains compared to what can be seen on the main channel, which is Australian model trains. So yeah, it's just something a little bit different. So we have a plastic cap, just going to take that off the top, throw that away. That's the handle, which is really nice to have a handle, makes it nice and easy to carry. None of the British stuff has ever had that. So we have our sections in the box. We can have we can see here. We'll have a couple close ups of the stuff later on after we've properly unpacked it. And we also have this little area underneath the box, which I'm just going to pull out. I think that's all. If I recall, there should be our instruction manuals and standard stuff. Really, yep. Instructions enclosed in this tray, so I'm not sure how much I can read, because again I've required something which isn't actually in English, which is always fun when you're an English speaker. Most of the stuff should be pretty standard stuff though, I'm hoping. We'll find out in the future, won't I? Yeah, so and then the track, it looks like, talking about the Unitrack system. So they also have the Unitram system, which is really interesting, which possibly might be something I might look into one day as well. Of course, I just need to make sure I don't overdo it on N-gauge, because I still have the 00 stuff that the HO stuff I have to build up on, and then our standard pamphlet, which is our, I don't know, it's like our basic operational manual, setup, basic setup. That's what it is. Again, I can't read anything, so I just use the images. That's all should be pretty standard stuff, I'm pretty sure. Nothing that a little trial and error couldn't do. So, anyway, into the box we have our 4-carriage Shinkansen N700 here, and then our track, which should create an oval track. We can see, first things first is, if you realise in the image, you realise that the model seems to not be actually seated in the box correctly. That's how it arrived. There's a chance that in transit here, especially because it came via the mail, it may have been thrown around a little bit, which is that the model is now dislodged slightly in the packaging, but shouldn't be too much. Hopefully, shouldn't be too much damage. In most cases, the carriages won't be living in this box anyways, so they quite easily come out. This is all polystyrene, so that's our first unit. So we'll quickly unpack everything, then we'll get a close up of everything of what is included in the box. This is our motor unit. So that was car number 1 that we just put to the side. This is car number 10. Carriage number 10, sorry. This is your Panto carriage, so carriage number 12, which there are 2 of these in the full Shinkansen set, full 16 carriage, and that's our second rear power car, carriage number 16. All right, so we get our loop of track, pretty. They don't look too bad, honestly. The track, and they have removable rail joiners which are clipped on, which is pretty different to the other stuff I played with. So yeah, we'll just quickly remove all those, because we'll have to remove everything, because unlike other videos, we will be constructing the layout. We get a railer, or as I think it's called by some people as a re-railer, but this is technically a railer because there's 2 things that come in this pack, which is your level crossing, but it's also a re-railer. So you can slide your wheels onto the tracks there, which there should be a little demo on the screen for each one, as I was talking about. You get 4 straights, 4 long straights, as we would call them, not 100% sure what they're called in this, which are apparently they're code numbered S248 underneath them, so put those to the side. You get 1 shorter bit of straight, and then 2 really short straights. And it looks like, by what it seems, is I think this might be your power one, but I'll have to take a quick look at that before we set up, obviously. Alright, and then we have our power standard wall transformer and Australian cable, obviously, because we are in Australia. Which is actually a variable transformer, so it's rated from 100 to 240 volts, so it should be fine for used in different countries with a different wall plug. We've got the sides of the rail crossing or / re-railer, and the cable to the track, which plugs into our controller, and we have Kato's Power Pack Standard SX. So pretty nice, cool, cute looking thing. Looks very different to the British controllers. So yeah, just move the box away. Only thing I'm worried about is there is a PWM fitted to these controllers, so we'll see how that goes in terms of. Alright, so I've got the camera a bit lower down, so I had to move it a little bit. So let's just quickly go through the stuff that comes in the actual pack, obviously. So starting off with the electronics, we get our controller, which honestly does feel very smooth, very different actually, and you got your forward and reverse. on the back you have your so these are actually made for both 12 what's it called, 12 volt N gauge and 17 volt, in quotation 16 volt HO gauge. So depending on the wall output you put in, has a different voltage output for the trains. And you have your two little prongs here, which is actually to connect the if I recall, the points, the electronic points. And your 4 carriage N700A Shinkansen bullet train. As I say, I do have 4 extra carriages, but for the purposes of this review video, we'll be only operating what comes in the set. Stay tuned for more videos to see the extra carriages and hopefully the full set eventually once I can acquire the last 8. Alright, as we know, it's more of a regular for our older viewers from locomotive like normal train reviews, model railway reviews on the main channel. What we're going to do now is a close-up, basically a semi-close-up first impression sort of look into the train itself. However, usually I'll do a history sort of thing onto the videos as well, but the history things will usually be moved to the review portion of the video, or else in this case will be moved to when we're constructing the layout, because obviously there's not really much to talk about when you're just watching building the layout, so there will be histories. So I'll talk a bit about the history then. Anyway, so getting nice and close up into them, camera's a little bit higher and we can see the carriages are just rolling off, because unlike usually, which would be where everything will be powered, these are unpowered. So I'm just going to stick that there to just stop them from rolling off the back of the thing. So we have our lead unit, carriage number 1. I have left carriage 16 off because it's basically identical to carriage 1. So we have our lead unit, carriage number 1, which is got that distinct sharp bullet nose on the front, which looks really, really crisp. Yeah. Seemingly fully interioured as well, because I can see this interior, which is pretty weird to see for such a small train. It's still interesting. As you can see a HO scale model sitting in the background at the moment on the repair works. So our second carriage there, which is just a standard sitting car, I'm pretty sure. Well, it is one of the regular trailer units, which is also our motor unit in this train set. So that's this one here. It actually does weigh a little bit too. And then we have our pantograph car, and that pantograph does actually come, it is movable, very, very fragile obviously, but yeah, so we have our pantograph car just there. Yeah, they look pretty good. We can also have a quick look into the way the couplers work. They hook onto each other from what I can see anyways. There's a little like pinion lock underneath, like a little knuckle sort of thing, which just holds the coupler, holds the unit together. Because there's not really much weight, it doesn't really matter that much, it's I would assume. So yeah, we'll see how long that coupler will last, because everything is plastic compared to our normal HO 00 stuff, which I've been using, which are usually quite large and metal. So, but yeah, so I think it's time we head over to the layout, where we can go and set up a little test track, and then we'll see where we go from there. Alright, here we are. We're now at the layout. We can anyone who's been from the previous channel will realise that everything looks slightly different. There is a new board now put in this area predominantly for both train sets and a project which is going to be starting, thanks to the fact that we are now doing N gauge. So we're going to do I haven't done setups of things before. We've had to use the full length of the board because the layout is actually larger than I had anticipated. We were anticipating just to use half the board for this one. The layout will be the full length though once completed. So pretty much standard thing. It's nothing like attaching like the live train. I've got 2 cameras for this part, which means that we should be able to have some nice operations like now. So Putting the track together is literally as simple as it is. You on a flat surface and push the fish plates together, and they should lock in. Should. However, I do find it easier when it's slightly higher above the ground instead. There we go. And that's it, locked in. So that's our first connection for the line. They seem like they attach pretty well as well. Not sure how well they go at pulling out, so they actually attach really well for what they are. So yeah, really strong. I think nothing like the normal fish plates. Just holding it. So it's actually uses dual, so it uses both a fish plate and a clips underneath the track. So yeah. The realization that I also didn't realize that there was an English instruction manual, which is actually from the American guide. So yeah, it gives me a bit of an insight into what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's all pretty self-explanatory though. So we'll just put that on there in case we need to use it. Because the controller will be on this side of the layout, so we're going to pop this controller just down here. Which means it'll be easy to have the power running from the controller to the track on this side. We'll have our track connector piece somewhere. That's not the track connector, that's the re-railer. Don't know where the track connector's gone. It's this one. We'll have the track connector on this side of the layout. We'll just plan out where we're going to put everything, because it's always best to understand the size of the layout before you do it. Yes, there is a massive gap in the middle of the layout, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. People know that I'm used to making massive gradients on most of my layouts anyway, so it's pretty regular for to have these sort of just high and lows on the layout. And then the last four over there. Awesome. We will have well enough room to do this now. So, time to firstly move the camera up a little bit, and then let's start putting the pieces together. So just things before we continue fully going ahead. We used to have our little packs of things to do for like the crossings and stuff, so maybe I'll get those set up as well. I have no idea what that thing's for though. These bags are pretty well put together, so now this thing in the center looks like it's for a double track. This is a single track, so we just use the 2 outer ones. It should basically just clip on, if I recall. There we go. That's our little level crossing. While we have the second camera running as well, we'll wire up the power connector, which means then we can just time lapse the rest of it out while I speak about the history of the N700A Shinkansen. I think these may or not only fit one way, so pushing these in, literally just cable goes into the bottom of the socket. There we go. Now, depending which way the cable is going to go, you have it facing that way. There we are. Alright, let's finish building the layout.
The Shinkansen N700A is a subtype of the N700 series. Introduced into service in 2007, they replaced the 300, 500 and 700 series Shinkansens, beginning with the Nozomi services. The N700 series are operated by JR Central, JR West and JR Kyushu. I think it's if that is how to pronounce it. I do apologise for the incorrect pronunciations, because I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce some of these names, to operate on the Kyushu Shinkansen and Kato N700A lines. 2,840 carriages have been constructed, forming 192 sets, which operate in either an 8 or 16 carriage configuration. Aside from Nozomi services, the N700 series operates the Kari and Kodama services as well. However, they are more for the older trains, i.e. the 700 and the 500 units, till they have been fully withdrawn from service. Most of the N700 sets have been upgraded to N700A sets, where they have a top servicing speed of 285 km an hour. A new generation of N700 has been constructed, namely the N700S, which entered service in 2020 and will eventually replace the N700As, currently beginning with the Nozomi services. Right, so that's the layout pretty much done. Time to plug up the controller. It's all standard stuff. I'm pretty sure this is a one-way plug, so you would hope. That's track connection connected, and standard wall plug. So always you can usually connect to the track before connecting to power, just for safety reasons. Make sure you don't have any power going into the tracks while you're wiring it up. However, it is only 12 volts. It's not too dangerous, but still better to be safe. There we go. Alright, so I can remove the second camera and we'll plug her up, and then the re-rail on. Sorry, not the re-rail, the railer, as it should be called if you're being grammatically correct anyways. Powered on. There we go, we've got our light on the controller saying that things are working, so awesome. Right, time to rail our train on. We're going to rail it facing in the clockwise direction because I feel like doing clockwise. It is single track, so it doesn't really matter which way, so just gonna, I could use the re-railer, but I'm just going to use the railer because it's easier. They do roll nice though. I'm not 100%, I feel like there might be an issue because the couplers probably should be coupled up first. That's the thing, I have to check which direction that the pantograph is supposed to be facing, so I'll be right back in. And I'm back. So car 12 is supposed to be facing towards car 1 partner, so that's correct. Here's the thing I need to check. The couplings, I'm not sure if the couplings are easy to be done on the track or easier to be done off the track. So just going to do a test couple now. They look like they're easy to be done off the track, honestly. So we're going to couple these up off the track. As I say, the couplers, the way that they work, just going to come up to the main camera instead. The way that they work is you have to have the pins firstly aligned on the coupler end, and then you have the hook which goes over. Then it says a pretty tight fit between the couplers. So I have to go and do that with all the registers. They are decoupleable. It's not easy to. That's not the point for them to be easy to decouple. But so we'll couple them all off the track first. Doesn't mean I'm going to be putting the train on sideways. Pretty sure not 100% sure if the carriages actually have a direction they're meant to be facing, so I do apologise to everyone if they've realised I put the carriages backwards or something, because honestly I have little idea on how they set the high-speed trains up. Remember, Australia doesn't have any high-speed trains. We hope one day they will, but right, so picking this all up, now having to rail every single carriage on at once, which is going to be fun. And the fact that one's a motor unit means it's not actually going to roll either. Always good. I'm hoping it's still picking up my audio. Oops. And I have to go. Alright. Take off the railer. Right, I think we're good to start off. So firstly set it to forward. You can see that. Firstly, we're going to have the controller set to the forward direction. Just hope that it actually goes in the correct direction. So it's yeah, there we are. Supposedly that I am supposed to run it in, but I have put down a couple of all the carriages to it, which means I'm going to be running it in with all 4 carriages, which might not be the best for the motor. So she's actually got frontal headlights, which is really, really cool. And actually reverse headlights, as you can see when the train's going away, so that's really nice. You can actually get internal carriage lighting kits as well to complete the package. So yeah. Let's get some nice moving shots of it. I'm also going to be, this will also be its running in period, so yeah, it looks like it's running pretty well. It's a little bit noisier, but it doesn't help that with these sort of tracks that I've realised, the audio, it's never quiet because of the distance from the underneath of the rail is vibrating the sound. So there's no sound dampeners. That's why you need to usually put some like rope in or something underneath it to dampen the sound. But there we go. Let's get some nice close-up of we're running, and then, well, we'll give our little conclusion, and then, yeah. Well, there we are. It's not a bad little starter train set for N-Gauge, honestly. It is a little bit noisy, especially the tracks, but that's pretty standard for anything with built-in road bed. So yeah, a nice speedy little runner, which is kind of expected. It is a bullet train after all. So yeah, it's performing pretty well. Of course, this is basically a first look more than a actual review video, but yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the start of this new channel and the return of Motorola reviews, and hopefully I will be back at some point with the completed set where we can do a proper review of the actual train itself, assess its performance and all its dimensional analysis. So yeah, as usual, our scores will be out at the end of the video. I thank you all for watching. Hope to see you all again very soon.